Matt, did you put this here? There's a cord coming out of the ceiling.
No. Let me see it. That's a lens. Like a camera lens.
A camera in our bathroom?
Yeah. We need to figure out where this is wired to. Right now.
Okay, so imagine it's right after Valentine's Day, last year, 2024. You've decided to take a nice little affordable vacation. Maybe it's kind of like a staycation. You take a few hours drive away to this beautiful place called Hocking Hills. Hocking Hills in Ohio. Maybe you're just getting away with your husband, with your young toddler. You know, it's not Hawaii, it's not Maui, but you guys have spotted this cool little Sly Fox Cabin Airbnb that has your name written all over it. It's time to get away, spend some time with your man, and even show your child, you know, the beauty of nature. It's a place that's like several hours south of Cleveland. Gorgeous waterfalls, hiking trails. Time to get away. You spend your hard-earned money and your PTO, your vacation time, whatever, you get away and you go to this cabin. Perhaps you even get to make a little sexy time with your man while your toddler sleeps somewhere, or, you know, you guys get to reconnect. Now imagine it's late at night, or maybe not too late. Maybe it's like 8-something p.m. and you're enjoying yourself, you're having fun. So you go to the bathroom to, you know, refresh, relieve yourself, take a shower, freshen up, get ready for the nighttime. But you notice something weird up in the ceiling. You call your husband to check it out because he knows a lot about these things too. To your horror, you guys discover there's some kind of contraption, a camera pointed to capture video and audio of everything you've been doing, not only on the toilet, the commode, can you imagine, but also in the shower. This is the type of situation that many adults found themselves in when they learned that they were the victims of a camera in their Airbnb, Hocking Hills, Ohio. I can't imagine their fear, their anger at discovering someone has been watching them. What is this person doing with the videos? Where did they go? Were they put online? Were they in the dark web? Imagine the double fear of knowing any juvenile family members or friends or whomever is with you for this enjoyable vacation have also become victims of this illegal eye in the sky. That's where we are today with this case. Thank God there are some heroes in this case who did not shy away from testifying, giving their testimony. And the main hero, this married couple who found the camera. I'm not going to say a lot of names. The documentation, I'll just link to it below. But a lot of these people have come forward. Even after their privacy has been violated in one of the worst ways, they still found the heroism and the bravery to come forward to make sure whoever put that camera there was convicted. So let's get into the story of how this woman, this very young mom, discovered this camera in a place that should be a vacation spot, a relaxing time where you can kind of let your hair down. Didn't happen that way. She called the police as soon as they found that illegal recording device, and it's gone on potentially for years. What's scary is, to me, the incident date for this report, the Sly Fox Cabin in Ohio. Boy, don't people tell you who they are. Either Sly Fox Cabin it was known as, or Sly Fox Lodge. It was on Airbnb and a couple of other websites. Of course, now much of the information has been scrubbed, but I was so fascinated I had to dig into this case, contact the sheriff's office, send them a big fat check today for $225 so I can see the body cam video of the culprit finally being arrested. This may have gone on for almost 5 years, maybe 4. The incident date is listed as January 1st, 2019, all the way through apparently February 19th, 2024. Basically, the couple discovered the camera February 18th, 2024, late at night, and early, first thing the next morning, 8 a.m., they were contacting the sheriff's office. Thankfully, they put an end to apparently what had been going on for years. 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and even a couple of months into 2024. So I don't know if they have video evidence all the way back then. They found sporadic video evidence, police did, but thank God for this hero couple who put a stop to this potentially 5-year-long reign of someone owning a rental property but using it to spy on the renters. Let's dig into this huge document I received today and the entire story. The FBI is involved, as well as police from other jurisdictions. A grand jury got involved. There was an indictment. Initially, it all started with the goal of who could have done this. So my question is, did you stay in the Sly Fox Cabin Airbnb in Hocking Hills, Ohio, ever? This woman found the hidden camera in this Sly Fox Cabin, Airbnb's bathroom drop ceiling. Really nice home. Lens pointed towards the shower, towards the toilet, and she's the hero. This case kind of took me aback. I've never been to Hocking Hills. It looks gorgeous. I mean, beautiful. It's a place that people often talk about as one of those places that, at least I don't think I've been there. I'm just remembering now. Where did I go? We were fishing in cabins, and anyway, I don't think I've been there, but you hear about this place often, just natural beauty, gorgeous type of environment. But to see the depth when we get to the details, it's pretty disgusting. So let's talk about how it started. It was February 19th, 2024, when this woman, I'll just call her the hero, even though these people are public, I'll leave their names in the documents, and the police have, of course, redacted juvenile names and all that. But this woman, the hero, called the Hocking County Sheriff's Office to report that she had found a hidden camera in the bathroom of the cabin where she was staying. Now, this 24-page report shows just how it all unfolded and all the offenses and how they got down to the person responsible for this horrific camera. I'm just scrolling past victims, witnesses, and everything. And might I say, just because a person who owned a property decided to put cameras where that person should not have put cameras, that doesn't mean the man's wife knew about it. That doesn't mean his property manager knew about it. That doesn't mean Airbnb knew about it, or any of these other rental properties. Let me make that clear now. Only one man, it seems, as far as we know, is responsible for this. So on February 19th, 2024, this hero woman called the Hocking County Sheriff's Office to report she found that hidden camera. It's in the bathroom. So this particular officer arrived at the place on State Route 664 North and spoke to the hero. She said she was staying at the Sly Fox Cabin with her husband. I'll just call him Hero's husband, and their 4-year-old son. She said while she was using the basement bathroom, the same morning she noticed a black cord hanging in the corner of the bathroom above the toilet. That must have been weird. This will be one of the red flags. This will help us all. This has put me on a journey to see how to discover when you go to even a hotel, maybe even a friend's home, a Verbo, an Airbnb, anywhere, how to look for things that might be a little bit weird. Thank God she noticed it. She put an end to this 5-year reign of horrible videos. So she's using the basement bathroom. She noticed a black cord hanging in the corner of the bathroom above the toilet. The hero said her husband noticed a lens at the end of the cord. I've got to look some of these products up just to even see what they look like so we can get visuals. I know there's plenty of ways to hide hidden cameras, but I need to get myself and everyone acquainted with the latest ways that people are hiding these cameras. So she sees a black cord hanging in the corner of the bathroom above the toilet. Her husband sees a lens on the end of this cord. She said her husband stood on the toilet and moved one of the ceiling tiles so they could see what was coming out of the ceiling. Like, where's this cord for? What do you need a cord hanging down in the bathroom? With a lens on it, no less. The hero said the cord went up to a black box that was flashing green. So something's going on there. There was a small antenna attached to the box. The box was plugged into a green extension cord that was in the ceiling and appeared to be coming from another room. The hero said she unplugged the camera from the extension cord before calling the sheriff's office. Now, again, I applaud this woman. I probably would have done the same thing. If you are in the altogether or you are expecting privacy like you should have in a bathroom, you see a camera pointed at you, of course your first instinct is to unplug it. But we are going to talk about why later when we're describing this scenario, why it's best to not touch any evidence you find. Of course, you want to get away from it. You don't want to be filmed anymore, but it's important to leave it just as it is. So the hero unplugged the camera from the extension cord before she called the sheriff's office, and then she ended up showing this officer where the extension cord ran to. It was plugged into an outlet in the laundry room and then went into the ceiling. The hero said the camera lens was aimed toward the shower in the bathroom before they had moved it. So she gave them a heads up. This is where it was. The officer took photographs of the camera in the bathroom and of where it was in the ceiling. Then this person contacted Lieutenant Wagner and informed him it did appear to be a camera with a wireless transmitter in the bathroom. Lieutenant Wagner informed me that he had contacted Lieutenant Detective Wright. That's a good guy. I just was emailing him today. And he would be getting a search warrant to take the camera. So these detectives, lieutenants, they were on it. They took her seriously and they immediately began working hard to figure out, wait a minute, who installed this? Who's responsible for this? What videos have been captured? Who are all the victims? And how can we contact all these people and let them know what we found? They had a big task ahead of them. The hero said that they had been at the cabin since 4 p.m. on February 18th, 2024. So they had just arrived basically the day before. She said that her and then her husband and their child had all used that bathroom, and they had even changed their clothes in the bathroom. So the husband gave the police officers the contact information, or sheriff's officers, sheriff deputies, forgive me. The hero gave the sheriff's deputies the contact information for the cabin. And so there's an email, and again, I won't say the whole thing. You can get the documents below if you want to read the details, because this booking place, I don't know if they hold any culpability for people renting their property. They don't expect them to hook up cameras everywhere in the bathroom. So he also got the phone number. The husband said he didn't know the owner's name, and there was no name with the contact info they were given. He did say he believed the owner's name might be Jonathan. He said there was several reviews that had mentioned a Jonathan and his girlfriend. So obviously they did their due diligence as best as you would expect before going on a quick trip, away from work with your wife, with your son, whatever. Get away, let's do some hiking, let's eat well, and, have fun. I'm sure they read a few Airbnb or different place reviews, wherever they booked it through. There's 3 different places you could have booked this cabin through. So he's like, okay, I heard about somebody mentioning Jonathan. Lieutenant Wagner then arrived on the scene, and he said he would stay at the cabin until Lieutenant Detective Wright arrived on scene with a search warrant. So this is good. They're on it. They get there. The woman's like, look, I found a camera. They're like, we need a search warrant. Let's get this done. And he's waiting. So, more details about the narrative. On February 19th, 2024, around 8 a.m., the police dispatch said this woman, the hero, called the sheriff's office, said she found the hidden camera in that downstairs bathroom of the cabin. She wanted a deputy to call her back. So the deputy spoke with the woman, and that's when she explained to him, look, me and my husband found this camera downstairs. Now, thankfully, she said her husband works construction and found the camera in the drop-down ceiling, and they found an extension cord that led to the camera in the utility room of the cabin. And she also informed them their 4-year-old son was with them, and then they let her know deputies are coming to that cabin. I am grateful her husband worked in construction. I'm glad she had an eagle eye for these things. Some people, they might see a cord hanging somewhere and they might think, oh, that's too techy for me. I don't know why that's there. No, she didn't let it go. She looked. She had her husband come help her. He's moving the drop-down ceiling tiles, and he's in construction. I'm sure he's used to this kind of thing. and he knows what's necessary and what's not. Do you need a cord hanging down in the bathroom with a camera on the end? Probably not. So deputies McManaway and Robinette responded to the address, and that's when they told this other person there was a camera in the downstairs bathroom. They also contacted Detective Lieutenant David Wright, informed him of the situation, and that's when a search warrant was acquired for the residence because they have enough proof now something shady is going on. So Wright and this person writing this narrative responded to the address, executed the search warrant, and this is what they recovered. Black camera, ribbon cam with black electrical tape located in the ceiling of the basement bathroom, green extension cord plugged into the utility room outlet and routed to the aforementioned black camera. We will see some photos here. I see the black ribbon camera now. I didn't even know that's how it looked. See, I wouldn't have known actually what I was looking at. And they show the ceiling, so I'm glad they have some evidence photos. So we kind of get an idea of what we should be looking for wherever we go. I didn't even know that kind of ribbon camera existed. So it's a black camera, ribbon cam, black electrical tape, and that was located in the ceiling of the basement bathroom. Extension cord plugged into the utility room outlet, routed to the camera. Okay, so the lieutenants searched the residence inside and out, but didn't locate any other recording devices. Except outside, they found the blink cameras that were at the front and back doors. So again, this hero woman said her and her husband both used that bathroom downstairs, and their 4-year-old son did too. The detective and the deputy took photos of the residence and camera that was apparently hidden in the bathroom. So those photos, I guess, are the ones I'm showing now, probably attached to the report. I didn't see them in this PDF. I have a 24-page PDF they sent me today. And again, I just mailed them more money for the actual arrest videos of this culprit. The search warrant was executed and a copy of that search warrant was left at the residence. I'm grateful they searched the entire residence for any other hidden recording devices. Even the blink cameras that are at the front and back doors. Okay, those are more to be expected. People expect people to have their Ring cameras, pointing outside, pointing in common areas even. There are certain rules, I would have to look it up or flash on the screen, about Airbnb and cameras, but outdoor cameras are very much expected. I remember reading in one report, one of these cameras overlooked the hot tub. There was a hot tub on the porch of this residence. Now granted, some people might, be getting freaky in the hot tub or whatever, and they might expect a certain level of privacy, but it's outdoors. I think that's fair game. You'd have to read the rules of Airbnb or these rental places. You can expect people to have Airbnb cameras outdoors. I know there was one, I should find it, where a guy, I think he was suing. Yeah, I think it was him. He was suing perhaps Airbnb or something because cameras caught him with his mistress or whatever arriving at an Airbnb, and his wife somehow saw the photos. I wonder how that case turned out. I want to plop that in here somewhere because it reminded me of that. Well, to me, that's fair game. Cameras are ubiquitous. When you walk up to anyone's house, you should have a reasonable expectation of there's probably a camera here. I'm outdoors. But all bets are off when you're entering a private, sanctuary, like a bathroom, where chances are people aren't going to have clothes on. They're going to be doing very private things and taking showers and everything. Now, this property manager, I won't say his name either, because as far as I know, he was not arrested. From all my research today, I've only seen one person arrested for this crime. So this person more than likely just worked on his own and didn't tell anyone else what he was up to. So the property manager is contacting the sheriff's office. This property manager is probably like, hey, what's going on over there at the rental, There's some brouhaha, search warrant. You guys are all over in there. I'm just making it up. That's probably what was going through his mind. But the property manager wanted info relating to the incident. He was informed of the search warrant somehow. The deputies used that time and detectives to say, look, property manager, give me more information about any employees that may have been at this rental cabin and give that info to Detective Wright. So that's good. The detective or deputy used the opportunity to talk to this property manager, And it says he complied. He's like, yeah, I'll tell you about, all the info I have. He's only managed the property for about a month. So he's just the property manager. That does not mean he knew or had any idea that the owner was in there, installing cameras. He might be a victim himself. I didn't even look at the victims list. So the hero also took pictures of her initial findings of the camera. That's great. She is wonderful. She tried to email them to this detective or someone, but he didn't receive them yet, or the deputy. But the incident was forwarded to the detective bureau. So the photos we have might be the hero's photos. She did a lot of things right. She was aware of her surroundings. She pointed out to her husband something that looked weird, and then she even grabbed photographic evidence herself of what she found. But it's February 19th, 2024. Hocking County Sheriff's Office got the report from the Airbnb cabin renter. They found this hidden camera. Deputies responded. They met with her. They found the hidden camera placed in the drop ceiling of the downstairs bathroom with the wire. It was hidden above the drop ceiling. It ran into the plastic box with all the several other cords and wires. The caller stated that she called 911 as soon as their family observed the camera. The caller also stated they have a small child staying with them. So I'm not sure if she literally found the camera that morning at 8 a.m. Incident reports can be a little confusing. I wonder if she only found the weird looking cord the night before. I don't know how soon she called her husband in, but by the time, he got up in the ceiling and found all that camera and everything else and knew it was a camera, that's when they immediately called police. So by February 19th, at 10:55 a.m., this one person arrived to execute the search warrant. Lieutenant Wagner was there at the residence. Reporters, victims were in the driveway of the residence already. Wow, that is so fast, isn't it? He says, I photographed the property and also activated my office-issued Axon body cam. That's what I paid for today. So, wow, this is amazing. February 19th, 2024. 8 a.m., the hero is calling the sheriff's office. Less than 3 hours later, we have reporters and victims in the driveway of that residence. Wow. I don't know if it was just that particular family. Reporters got a hold of the story already. I haven't seen a lot of info about this. I mean, it's starting, but I haven't seen like a lot of videos or this much detail that I got from the sheriff's office reported yet. Maybe I just haven't found it. But they found that reported camera mounted covertly in the downstairs bathroom inside the residence. The camera was mounted in the drop ceiling on the far northwest corner and located in the track of the ceiling itself. Wow, and those like silver ceiling tracks. Yeah, this person really tried to hide that camera. I was informed by the hero that she had touched the camera cord plug as she physically unplugged the camera from a green extension cord before they arrived, investigators. She also stated she observed a green LED light that was transmitting from the camera body before she unplugged it. So that's something we'll learn, even though it's like everything in our power would want to do that. Even if you run upon a victim who maybe is beyond help, let's say, our instinct might be to touch that person, move that person. If there's a weapon there, throw it out of the way, but we have to go against our instincts and try and preserve evidence, leave everything intact. I observed 2 black pieces of electrical tape that had been used to hide the camera wires to the wall above the drop ceiling. I also found the camera was plugged into the electricity via a household extension cord that was green. The extension cord was run from the camera through the ceiling and dropped down into the laundry room, running down the wall, which was visible, and plugged into an electrical outlet behind the washer dryer. So it was pretty visible, but perhaps this person was hoping, oh, they won't know what this is. The investigators collected the camera with the tape and the extension cord, all as evidence. The lieutenant and the investigator proceeded to search the rest of the residence. Let's see if they found any more unusual foreign cameras, devices. They didn't find any. They observed 2 cameras, which were Ring or Bing or whatever cameras located outside the residence. One camera was mounted above the main entrance door of the residence, which is kind of normal. See who's coming there, who's coming to the door. And the other was mounted on the post pillar of the upper deck below the upper deck. The residence did have a walkout basement, and it was apparent that the rear camera would have views of the basement exit and views of the hot tub. So it's normal well for it to be near the exits. I mean, it's still kind of a little skeevy for it to be pointed towards the hot tub, but just knowing the rest of this person's intentions, that's all. Normally, if it's pointed towards your back exit or your hot tub, maybe it's not that weird. Okay, they left a copy of the inventory sheets documenting all seized items as evidence, copy of the search warrant on the table at the cabin's main entrance. It says, I completed the exit photographs of the residence. I think there's more photos I need to get, just of the search, and I really want the arrest videos of this culprit. So they returned to the sheriff's office, logged him in as evidence, everything uploaded. Now there's more. The next day, the following day, February 20th, 2024, I started to prepare the evidence for possible lab submission and further ID. So this person separated the camera from the black tape, ensuring it was completed sterility in case the lab was needed for latent prints or DNA. So they're like, look, we're going to get to the bottom of who's been touching this camera, which is another reason, the hero shouldn't have touched it, but there you go. It was all logged as evidence. They determined the camera to find the make, model, and other details. And when they were examining this camera, they found a micro SD card. This is what they found, the info on this SD card. Kingston 32 gigabyte micro SDCS, so it could hold some videos on there, 32 gig. Especially, I do believe it was motion activated, and so it has the serial number, Taiwan, and all that. So this person placed the SD card in the Cellbrite SD reader and was able to view certain files, several files on this card. Already, the card had 28.5 gigabytes of files, so it's only a 32 gig micro card, so it's probably almost full. Did he go in there and, owner switching up the SD cards each time a family stayed there or what have you? The authority created a clone replica containing the contents of the SD card and securely stored the electronic evidence via the sheriff's office, online, external evidence storage device, logged it all into this beast evidence system. Now he's viewing this data on this cloned SD card. Like, what can I find? He found all these folders containing data, videos, other files. Now there were 3 folders he found so far. One was called Android Secure. Ugh, Androids. I'm totally Team Apple. Android and DCIM. So you've seen that a lot on your folders. Contents and additional folders would suggest the SD card had previously been used in an Android cell phone. I found within the DCIM folder, within another folder labeled Camera, it contained 941 megabytes of photos. Now these photos, he's getting closer to the culprit, appear to be taken from a cell phone and are part of the backup process that would have been completed on an Android phone. He finally sees a face, and these faces help him get to the name of that person. I observed several photos within that folder of Jason Yard, his wife, I will not say her name, and their children. The photos appear to be taken from a family vacation coastal trip. So they have a name, they have a person. Even though the wife's name is out there, I don't want to say her name just because, again, from everything I've looked through, this man acted alone. So I don't want, internet mobs going after these people, assuming more than Jason Yard knew what was going on here. This says, I observed a photo titled Record. Within that photo, I found 94 additional folders that appeared to be labeled with a date, format, year, month, day, which would have been created by the camera recovered found in that bathroom ceiling. Now, this is only on this most recent SD card. I'm wondering how many cards or how long did this go back? They stated the incident began January 1st, 2019. So the dates on these folders on this particular SD card spanned from September 3rd, 2023 to February 18th, 2024, with some various gaps in between the dates, suggesting the camera was set to motion activated recording. So you guys know that's how a lot of Ring cameras are. A car passes by, motion, okay, I'll start recording. Someone comes into this basement bathroom, unfortunately, okay, I'll start recording. That's what Jason Yard set it up to do, I guess. Within each dated folder, I found that each folder contained various amounts of color video recordings, included audio and date and timestamp. After reviewing a few of the videos, imagine these cops' jobs. I observed the camera had been strategically placed so that the commode, toilet, and the walk-in shower were in view. And so he observed what appeared to be different cabin renters' guests in a state of unclothedness, I'll say, including, unfortunately, minor children. So after reviewing that SD card evidence suggests that Jason Yard and or his wife may have been the owners of this SD card. So at first they labeled them both as suspects. It does say that. But as their investigation progressed, obviously they only honed in on Jason. He's going to appear on the camera too. Now, this investigation narrative continues. On February 20th, 2024, now it's 10:30 a.m., someone spoke with the property manager, and he's the owner of this property management company down there in Hocking. It's a booking management company for that particular rental cabin. So apparently they had the booking management company. It was listed on Airbnb, and it was listed with another place. So the property manager stated the following. On November 27th, 2023, he met these cabin owners at the cabin in reference to him and his employer taking over as the rental management company. I get it, because this guy, Jason, he actually lives farther away from this Hocking Hills property. That makes sense. For I know people who own like property that they rent out, Airbnb or whatever. It can be a lot of work, getting stuff fixed and getting stuff cleaned. And, I can understand why you'd want a property manager handling a lot of things that you don't have to, drive 3 hours away to handle yourself. So this property manager said he went to the cabin again on December 6th or December 7th to take photos of it for the website. So he's preparing to be the property manager. On January 15th, 2024, his company officially went into contract to manage this rental, taking over doing stuff like reservations, cleaning, etc. All the things you have to do for this type of venture. The property manager stated that the cabin owners are Jason Yard and his wife, and he usually contacts Jason via his cell phone number, so he gave him that. The property manager said he did inform Jason Yard about the camera/Airbnb negative post from the most recent cabin renter, and that Jason informed him that he and his family were on a Caribbean cruise. I haven't seen much more details, but this is sometime earlier. I don't know what time this was. I don't know what negative Airbnb post they're talking about. Did the hero and her husband immediately start warning people on Airbnb, this gets whatever, a thumbs down, no stars, whatever you give, because we found a camera? I don't know the negative post. Maybe that'll show up in more evidence somewhere. So the property manager is like telling Jason, the owner, look, dude, you got a negative post. Maybe he told him about the camera. And look, Jason's off having fun on a Caribbean cruise with his family. I haven't honed down what Jason did for a living. His own home is valued at more than $500,000. Maybe he didn't do this. I still have to see all the evidence. But what bothers me is beyond all this filming of juveniles and adults illegally in states of, unclothedness. What are they doing this for their own sick pleasure and keeping the videos, just to themselves? Or are they making money off of them somehow? I don't know. Jason's off on this Caribbean cruise with his family, and he's probably pooping bricks. He's probably like, should I jump off the ship? What should I do? Should I go hide? He came back home. They lawyered up. On February 21st, 2024, it says, I spoke to the property manager in reference to the update to the case, and this detective explained, due to the sensitivity of the case, it's an open investigation. He can only give the property manager certain info. I can understand the property manager's like, look, we just went into a contract to start renting out this cabin. Now there's a search warrant, there's stuff going on, negative review, camera. So the property manager texted this authority a text message conversation between him and Jason. So they uploaded a copy of the screenshot somewhere to the report. I didn't see that yet. But the property manager also supplied a few photos of the residence, as well as a link to a URL containing the photos and the virtual walkthrough of the cabin. So I went to that virtual, and it looks like a beautiful cabin. On February 22nd, 2024, again, they spoke with the property manager, authorities did, and informed him Do not contact Jason and his wife outside of normal rental cabin business. And he's also asking this property manager, do you know when the Yards are due to return from their family vacation? And the property manager's like, I don't know. I'm sure cops were wondering, is that dude gonna run? And he's like, don't be tipping him off and telling him about this case. So I don't know if Jason knew. Jason probably knew there was a search warrant at the property he owns, investment property, because this property could make him a lot of money. Maybe it was just the investment property itself making Jason money. Maybe it was more, you know? Unfortunately, we've seen several cases like this, like Molly the nanny, who was making money as a nanny, quote unquote, but she was taking inappropriate videos of her clients, and maybe she was making money that way too. I don't know. I'm just speculating. On February 23rd and 26th, it says this investigator spoke to the property manager, and he said Jason Yard had sent him a text message stating, any updates? Is there a case number? So by now, Jason knows, if you're asking for a case number, he knows something's going on. The authority informed the property manager, I don't have any further updates for you. Now it's moving along. On March 5th, 2024, the authority spoke to the property manager about the case. He's asking for updates on the case. He informed him the detective had been contacted by Jason Yard's attorney. He also informed the property manager that he needs a copy of guests, visitors who have stayed at the cabin, and could supply him with a subpoena for his records if needed. He acknowledged the request, and the detective asked the property manager if he knew the previous cabin management company, and he replied with that company's name. So he's like, look, this is their search. They found this camera. They found some shady videos already. Detectives are doing their due diligence, a bang-up job to say, okay, who all have stayed in this cabin? Who was the previous management company? Who were all these victims? How long has this been going on? Now we have a different narrative. A lot of detectives worked on this apparently. On February 20th, this one detective spoke to Special Agent Jeremy Lindar with the FBI and informed him of this incident. So the special agent with the FBI said he would have an Akron PD officer, because that's where Jason lives, and an FBI task force officer make contact with him, as it is their local venue. On February 21st, 2024, this investigator down in Hawking spoke with Detective Rubes of the city of Akron via his cell phone and arranged for Detective Lance with the Bath Police Department to contact him, as his office has jurisdiction related to the suspect's home. Now, Jason and his family are still off on their lovely little Caribbean cruise. You know, it's like, enjoy it while you can. But at their home in the area Bath, Ohio, beautiful, right next to Akron, Ohio. They're saying that's the jurisdiction, so they want to watch the home of Jason Yards. He explained the nature of the investigation, emailed the detectives the reports to see if a search warrant could be obtained and conducted at the family residence. So the detective said, okay, I'll have the house checked periodically to see when and if the family returns from vacation. I wish they had enough evidence at that point to go search his home too. On February 29th, 2024, again, Hawking spoke with this Detective Lance again about the case, and he informed Hawking at the current moment he was thinking his office is unable to obtain a search warrant for that family's residence, but the detective did say, look, no one has returned home, only a dog walker has been observed. So he told him, look, the Yards aren't even home yet, which to me would have been the perfect time to execute a search warrant. I don't know what all you need. I guess it depends on if you get a judge to sign it, but I felt like at that point it was enough evidence to go search his home. Now on March 1st, this person spoke with Detective Lance, and he said, okay, there's been this elderly female that's been to the residence, but nothing that indicated the family's returned yet. Now, on March 1st, this person received a phone call, this detective, to his desk phone from an attorney stating he was making contact on behalf of Jason Yard and his wife as their attorney. So the attorney was asking, what's the status of the case? The detective lieutenant says it's still under investigation. One of the items on his list, though, was to interview and speak with the Yards family. Like, since you're calling me, attorney, I got to talk to your clients. The attorney said he understood, and he'd see when the Yards were available to speak to the detective. He'd be back in contact with him. Now guess what? 4 days later, March 5th, 2024, the detective speaks with the attorney again, and he informed him, due to the sensitivity, his clients do not wish to interview with the police. I get it. It's standard. Any criminal defense attorney will tell you don't talk to the cops. The attorney also asked that if we were to make movement on the case and before any warrants, subpoenas were issued, that he receive a heads up from my office or the prosecutor's office. So it's just showing the attorney saying, Lieutenant Wright, pleasure speaking with you. My clients are invoking their right to remain silent at this time due to civil liability issues. Please call me as your investigation proceeds. So they have their attorney. That's what they're there for. I mean, as a wife and mom, it would take everything in me to say, look, I had no idea what my husband was doing. If he put those cameras up there, I knew nothing. But, I understand. You have to stay quiet sometimes. Now, on March 11th, this case is being submitted to the Hocking County Prosecutor's Office for grand jury consideration. They move quickly. I like how fast they move. On March 12th, 2024, this person was granted 3 subpoenas for records data reservation info. So these 1 cabins down in that location, Airbnb, another booking place, they're getting all the info. March 20th, 2024, the detective spoke with one of these persons. She's advising him, okay, I don't have the records you're asking for, but her counterpart would have them, could supply them. So it's like, make contact with him. March 20th, the detective was granted an additional subpoena to that person to get the records. So basically, they're just trying to get everyone. We got to warn everyone. March 12th, 2024, the detective got an email from the property manager, including an Excel document containing the records requested. The dates for these records would be dated January and February of 2024. Remember that property manager, one of them had just started being the property manager. On March 21st, 2024, wow, this is where 2019 comes into play. The detective receives an email from the other management company, including an Excel document containing the records requested. The dates for these records would be dated April 2019 through December 2023. Wow. I've uploaded a copy of the email to this report. It says the copy of the document has been uploaded to this report and stored in evidence down there. February 21st, 2024, the detective submitted Facebook preservations for Jason and his wife's Facebook accounts. And when I go to those accounts, it just has some weird name on there. So we can't see what they used to look like. But it's crazy. Those dates, though. The previous management company from April 2019 through December 2023. I don't know how much video evidence, how far back that goes. I was trying to find out how long Jason owned this Sly Fox Cabin. Anyway, on March 22nd, 2024, the detective submitted a preservation on Jason Yard's Verizon account. So he's like, let's freeze it all. He even got, on March 26, 2024, created and was granted a search warrant from Hocking County Common Pleas Courts for Jason's Amazon records, Facebook records, and his wife's Amazon and Facebook records. So I'm glad they were okay with this. Some places they don't do it, but this is where he's finding all this Amazon evidence. On April 1st, 2024, I received correspondence from Amazon containing the purchase history for Jason and his wife. This is what was extracted from Jason's Amazon purchase history, so they were able to hone it down. Okay, Jason bought this stuff, and this is why. It goes back to January 18th, 2019. My goodness, that is almost 5 years to the day? So it's over 5 years, more than 5 years since this camera was purchased. He bought some Wi-Fi. It's kind of hard to see these because it kind of cuts off, but I can see part of the item description. I wish I had the, ASIN. I could see the exact product. Wi-Fi waterproof wireless nanny cam for IND, and it cuts off. Indoor monitoring, that's it. Hidden camera nanny cam. Cloud storage. And of course, this is from 2019, so they're much more, I'm sure, updated now. Night vision for baby stuff. Oh my goodness. I'm going to put some of these products on screen. Usually I recommend people get these for safety purposes. Of course, a lot of people have nanny cams. You have a nanny cam there, and it's for what it's designed for. Generally, if you have someone babysitting your child, like I recommended in Molly the Nasty Nanny case, if you have cameras, whatever's legal, you guys figure out what's legal for your state. I'm not saying put them in a bathroom or put them somewhere you expect people to be unclothed, but if it can help you watch your children, you have a babysitter in the baby's room, or how people have found all kinds of crazy things happening. Sometimes, of course, not bad stuff, but just they'll see their baby up and singing, or the dog is like taking care of the baby or whatever. Anyway, Jason starts buying all this stuff. January 30th, let's see here. I guess he loved his cameras. He bought some spy hidden camera with motion detection, I guess for iOS it must have been. I just see an IO. So if you download these documents, it's just one main document. You'll see how the item description's cut off. But you can see it started January 2019. So I see why they started that date. That's when they could prove this is when he's buying these spy cams. I'm assuming they've matched up, all the numbers, serial numbers and everything, product types. Then February 26, 2019, he bought this Blink XT home something. I really want to see what all these are. I wish they weren't cut off. I've seen people who have the Blink cameras. The Blink Smart Home Security Camera. More hidden cameras were purchased July 3rd, 2019. Hidden camera, 1080p, real something. He was just getting, and it's all associated with this Jason Yard's address. So that's another thing. Hidden camera clock, S1080p, real-time view use. Wow. Like some of this stuff, I think of it being used for great purposes. For example, my friend was just recommending last night, let's say there's an elderly person you want to look out for, and they want their independence, and maybe they live in a different city, or they live, wherever. Not easy for you to get to, but as long as you all agree, hey, is it okay for me to put a camera? Let's say it's your grandmom, and she lives alone and she's a widow, and you say, hey grandma, is it okay for me to put this camera right here in your living room? I can just pop on and check on you, make sure you're okay. Technology can be used for great purposes, but some people just use them for evil. There's no way he should have done what he did. There's no way he should have done this. So he's buying some Palm Vid Wi-Fi smoke adjustable, that's another smoke detector hidden camera. A lot of them are hidden. More hidden cameras, support Kingston flash memory. So this goes on from after July 3rd, he's buying more, July 12th, all in 2019, August 2nd, 2019, another August 2nd, 2019 memory cards. Then it moves on to January 14th, 2020, more hidden cameras. Why did he buy so many? Where are the other ones? I mean, the detectives only found a certain amount. Did he throw away the ones that were older? April 26, 2021, all these hidden cameras. June 30th, 2021, some detection, something. June 30th, 2021, that 256 gig micro smartphones, probably the SD card. July 27th, 2021, he buys another 64 gig Kingston card and adapter. Here we go. December 2nd, 2022, some FULAO hidden nanny cam. I'll try and put all of these on the screen that I can find. Then January 4th, 2023, this Ari Fazy dash cams. I do want a dash cam for the car. He liked his technology. Again, nothing's wrong with technology. Obviously, I'm using my iPhone to film this. I love my MacBook. I'm grateful for all technology when it's used for good purposes. On March 26, 2024, one of the investigators received data for Jason Yard and his wife's Facebook accounts. And due to the size of the data, the original docs and certificates have been stored somewhere else. They submitted evidence to BCI, that's the Bureau of Criminal Investigations. They submitted these two items for potential DNA and latent print ID. There was the camera, pin ribbon style camera. I'm just learning that exists. So this is good for me too, everyone. And black electrical tape used to secure the camera in the ceiling. After they spoke to BCI lab supervisors, they also submitted another item, this Kingston micro SD card, to the BCI crime unit for extraction, parsing, forensic analysis. So they submitted all of that stuff. Oh boy, they had him dead to rights. On June 6, 2024, they got a BCI crimes analysis report. I don't know if we have the data, the results. And on June 20th, 2024, they received the BCI lab results. Submission of the camera, USB cord, black electrical tape. Here it is. The results stated that DNA was found, but not suitable for CODIS entry. So they found enough DNA, not suitable for CODIS entry. They couldn't find a CODIS match. Is that what they're saying? Now, this is the sad part in the summary and what they found. I won't necessarily read you all the details, but on April 18th, 2024, BCI Cybercrimes Unit was requested to assist in this investigation of Jason D. Yard, pursuant to the search warrant for the alleged commission of the criminal offense, illegal use of, basically juvenile impaired person in unclothed material. The Kingston 32 micro SD card was connected, and they got all the stuff on there, and they found the folder named Records. They found videos, multiple videos of people in a bathroom, videos that were playable, had timestamps between September 3rd, 2023 and February 19th, 2024. That's when, thank God, this was put to an end. There were various gaps, of course. Now they show what caught Jason. Basically, there was one video dated January 7th, 2024, showing a male entering a bathroom, which I can assume is Jason. I think later in the report, they might ID him as such. The male looks towards the camera and appears to adjust the angle of the camera. And then another video, the same day, January 7th, 2024, shows the same male appearing to adjust the camera. Then the lights are turned off in the bathroom. Now this... At first, I misunderstood it. It freaked me out. February 18th, 2024, it shows a different male looking towards the camera in the bathroom. The male starts to move the camera into different positions in what appears to be an attempt to locate the camera. Now, the 11 video clips following, this is still February 18th, show the camera being moved to a different position. A female is also seen moving the camera. The camera then gets turned so nothing is visible. Audio can still be heard on the video recordings. So at first I was like, wait a minute, a female was seen moving the camera and then a different male? And I was like, oh no, they're talking about the hero couple. This is when they found it. They're like, wait, I'm sure they were, move my lights, I'm sure they were like, what is this? What's going on here? I'm sure they were just moving it to figure out what the heck it was, not any other culprits. So that was February 18th, 2024. Correct. That was at 20:15 hours. So that is 8:15 at night. It was reported to the sheriff's office the next morning. So it's 8:15 at night. They're like, what is this? What is this? First thing the next morning, they call the sheriff's office. So then it talks about everything this SD card contained, even the trash on the SD card contained 2 videos. So even though Jason, if he had gone through there and deleted some videos, they were still in the trash. There's even a lost directory, a folder produced by Android. There were previously existing videos, some of which are unplayable. Previously existing files means that file or parts of a file have been deleted or overwritten. So did he have these, videos and he's like, oh, I need more space on this SD card. Did he take them off the SD card and put them anywhere for other people? Did he sell them? Did he truly just delete them and not share them? That's what's questionable. So there were previous video files, AVI files, MP4 files that, either weren't playable, had no relevant metadata associated. Conclusions. Basically, the videos that are playable have the timestamps between September 3rd and February 19th, 2024. The dates on the unplayable videos, however, are February 2023, August 2023, September 2023, and then that one from January 7th that's playable showing the man adjusting the angle of the camera. There's evidence, pictures, videos, everything. I guess the thing that really let detectives know when Jason started this whole horrible adventure or venture is them seeing his Amazon account and noticing when he started purchasing these hidden nanny cams. Coupled with, I want to know how long he's been the owner of this cabin. That's what I've been searching for. So there was a single Excel document using those two different Excel spreadsheets they got, combining, from all the booking companies, finding contact info from those who have confirmed video recordings. So these people, I'm sure they had no idea. Now it also says, which is odd to me, this part really kind of stunned me, I found 3 additional stays, visits at the cabin by reviewing the recordings. So even the people who weren't listed on the spreadsheet as renters, they weren't listed there. The detectives found videos of them. They're not listed on the spreadsheets, but they have hidden videos. And guess who, from January 5th through January 6th, Jason and his wife, the cabin owners, are, found on these videos. They don't go into details, but I'm like, probably unbeknownst to his wife, did he install this hidden video camera, and then him and his wife, and I don't know, were their children there too, and he has videos of them too? It just says cabin owners. Then, January 24th, there's videos of cabin cleaning, and it also says female in state of unclothedness. So I'm like, oh my goodness. And then from February 16th through February 18th, we don't have the years on here. These are just the 3 additional visits of the camera reviewing the recordings. An unknown male and female couple staying at the cabin, recordings of copulation. So where did those go? All in all, it says 49 adults and 13 children. So I guess those are all the victims. Other notable events within these recordings. January 7th, Jason Yard can be observed adjusting the camera. There's nothing on the booking sheets for his visit, possibly due to being in between cabin management companies. Once again, November 26, 2023, Jason Yard can be observed adjusting the camera. Back a month prior, October 14th, 2023, Jason Yard can be observed looking at the camera and sticking out his tongue. Oh my goodness, he's sticking out his tongue at the camera. November 26, 2023, again, Jason Yard can be observed looking at the camera, so he's testing it out. April 14th, 2025, this report was updated within the Hocking County Prosecutor's Office. After review of both reservation documents, correlating with video recordings of basically juveniles with the corresponding dates, it says I found 5 separate families' reservations. Within the 5 reservations, I was able to observe 9 different juvenile victims. I did note a 6th reservation booked for October 13th, 2023 through October 15th, 2023, which contained Jason Yard and his immediate family, 2 children and other adults, and 2 additional children. I have no contact or ID info for the other guests during this visit. So Jason brought, obviously, his wife, his immediate family, it says, his 2 children, other adults, and their 2 additional children. He was able to find that 6th reservation, but I don't know if he found any videos. Did Jason turn it off while they were there? I don't know. Basically, of course, I'm not going to read these names, but there's 5 separate reservations booking info of the corresponding recordings that contain, unfortunately, the juveniles. And the booking dates range all throughout 2023. August 19th, October 15th, November 20th, December 9th, December 28th. People trying to get away for the holidays and not thinking of this stuff. On June 17th, 2025, I attempted to make contact with the above victims. So they had to go through a lot to find these victims. They were trying to find ID info. They're leaving voicemails. So they spoke to one person here on June 17th, 2025, informing her that her family and her could possibly be the victims of a crime this person was investigating. Imagine getting that call. This woman confirmed, yep, my family did book and stay at that Airbnb in Hocking Hills the day after Christmas 2023 until December 30th, 2023. That conversation was recorded. Then on June 18th, 2025, they spoke with that hero, the hero's husband, and it's like, are you willing and able to testify regarding this incident, as you were the individual who observed and found the camera, you with your wife? He said he was more than happy to testify. So God bless him for stepping up and testifying. So July 2025, they're trying to contact more would-be victims. July 3rd, 2025, they spoke with a different person informing her, okay, you and your family could be victims of a crime. She did confirm, yes, we booked and stayed at that Airbnb in Hocking Hills from November 23rd through November 25th. These all sound like warm holiday times, it was around Thanksgiving and then later after Christmas. And she even confirmed that she had a 10-year-old daughter with her during the stay. And then her boyfriend also stayed at the cabin. Oh, can you imagine? You try and do your due diligence. You book an Airbnb. I've never booked one. I gotta tell you, maybe this is part of the reason why, even though I know this can happen in hotels too. But you book it never expecting to leave there the victim of a crime, not knowing, maybe still to this day, where those videos ended up. Where did Jason put them? Just wait till you see his punishment. July 10th, 2025, so it's about 4:30 p.m. The detective spoke to another woman, telling her you might be the possible victim of this crime. She did confirm her and her family stayed at the Airbnb in Hocking Hills, December 30th, 2023 through New Year's Day, January 1st, 2024. It just seems like a nice little, 3-day getaway or something, like something different. Oh, it's snowing, let's go watch deer or the waterfall or sit in the hot tub, just something different. She was very upset. And she said she was more than willing to assist the prosecutor's office in anything that is needed to include testimony. She confirmed there were 2 children with her under the age of 18, both of which are males. Her daughter was also there, but she had just turned 18, And of course, the age is important when you see his charges. That's why the delineation, they're all victims, of Jason's, but the age becomes really important when you see later. On July 14th, 2025, at about 3:20, they spoke with this other woman's estranged husband. He also had stated previously, one of the kids is his from a previous marriage. So they're all learning. So there's all these case forms, evidence. They're just listing out the digital files. Of course, we don't want to see any of the actual evidence, but bless God for these officers who had to. Now, the man arrested, Jason Daniel Yard. Now, the police paperwork says he's a 39-year-old male. In my research online, too, I see some places peg him to be around 45, and his wife. I don't know how old he is. He did originally, at one point when this crime, I guess, happened, he lived in Akron, Ohio. It's about 30 minutes south of Cleveland, but he owned that rental property in Hocking Hills or Logan, Ohio. It's about a 3-hour drive farther south. Now, his own home is valued at, again, more than $500,000 with 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, but it's his investment property that's at the heart of this case. Well, now he goes by jail ID 52147, and he was booked recently, October 23rd, 2025. So he's the man who owned this Sly Fox Cabin, Sly Fox Lodge, whatever he called it. He ended up pleading no contest to illegal use of unclothed material involving minor after investigators discovered dozens of recordings for all these adult and juvenile victims. So people might ask, wait, what's so special about Hocking Hills? As an aside, it is stunning. Beautiful cliffs, thrilling waterfalls, deep gorges, beautiful. Anyway, Jason, I don't know when he'll see that again. See, now his custody record says he's 46, so I don't know where that 39-year-old came from. Age. He's a white male, and even though this property, the Airbnb, was unloaded recently, it sold for $399,900. It's beautiful. The asking price was more. The asking price was $429,900. Perhaps it went for less because people knew, like if reporters were already in the driveway and the victims were in that driveway, less than 3 hours after the hero found the cameras, word got around. People knew what was going on. So by August 18th, 2024, this rental property was listed and it eventually sold. So I found a description of this Sly Fox Cabin. I can't get over that he named it Sly Fox, but it makes sense. Like some people are like, wink, wink, they give you hints and winks about who they are. But Sly Fox Cabin. Anyway, it was described as a beautiful turnkey short-term rental located in the heart of the Hocking Hills. It's been called the perfect investment opportunity with AirDNA projections of $40,000 to $50,000. So is that like a profit per year or what? Anyway, the cabin has 3 bedrooms, 2 full baths with 2 living spaces, perfect for family gatherings or personal retreats. Take in the beauty as you enjoy views from 2 levels of porches while overlooking the private wooded location. Isn't that interesting? It's a private wooded location. Well, it's not too private if there were used to be cameras all up in the bathroom. Overlooking the private wooded location from the steamy hot tub. I mean, it sounds delightful, but for Jason's evil moves. Located in close proximity to all the Hocking Hill attractions while still being close to local town amenities, restaurants, and shopping. Get your own private oasis in the heart of Ohio with tremendous rental income potential to make this an outstanding investment. Isn't God transferring the wealth of the wicked to the righteous? I gotta admit, I'm grateful when stuff like this happens because, first of all, that hero woman stopped, put an end to all this illegal, horrible recording and whatever Jason was doing with it. But also, it's like, it trips me out. I was telling my friend yesterday, I'm like, sometimes you go through struggles and I'm praying for all the people coming up who might find, food shortage or anything. I've been praying over it. Like, how can I help? I hope in grocery stores they have where we can give food to food banks. And, I'm just trying to be conscious, even as we have our own needs and our own bills. I'm like, don't forget to stop giving. That was my thought process. But I told my friend last night, it seems like it's so easy for some people to make money. And Myron Golden over there, that YouTuber, I remember he made a video about why evil people are always rich. And I don't remember his theory, but it almost reminds me of this. Because this guy, he used to have this Airbnb.com listing, Sly Fox Cabin. Of course, it's all scrubbed now. Took a lot to figure out, okay, what was this listing? But I see, like, to me, you think, oh, a guy like Jason has it all. And I feel bad for his poor wife and kids. I'm sure they probably no idea. Imagine. He has it all. More than $500,000 house in beautiful Akron. Wife, kids. He owns a rental property was valued at nearly $500,000, but it only sold for $399.9. Okay. Owns a rental property, investment property too. It could make what? Could it clear $40,000 to $50,000 a year? I don't know how profitable it was. It sounded like it was profitable. I mean, if he did it, I still cannot find the date he purchased this property. If I do, I'll flash it on the screen. But if he was able to purchase it in 2019, had it for 5 years, it was probably profitable. So he's been charged. So this is where his case went. In June, an indictment was filed against Jason Yard of Akron. He was arrested in July. He was issued a $100K bond after he entered not guilty to 6 charges. There were 4 felony counts of illegal use of unclothed-oriented material involving, a minor, and 2 misdemeanor counts of voyeurism. 6 counts, he's like, oh, not guilty of them all. After a September motion for continuance, so they must have, rescheduled it, Jason changed his plea recently to no contest on the first count of the indictment, illegal use of, unclothed material involving minor. The remaining charges were dropped as part of that agreement. So this plea deal, he's like, not guilty of all 6 charges. And I guess they're like, okay, we'll drop all these. He pled guilty to 1. So now he will have to register as a Tier 1 SO, Tier 1 offender, according to Ohio law. He's scheduled to be sentenced November 12th. He faces a max sentence of 12 years in prison. However, court records state the prosecution's office and defense agreed to a prison term of only 4 to 6 years. So will he get what? 5 years. This guilty plea of this offense comes with a 5-year post-release control period, a fine up to $15,000. On Facebook, some people are like, oh, this is horrible. That's all he's getting. I don't know. What do you think? What is it? Is it fair or not? I can't help. Also, I was thinking about this case too. So he might get a term prison 4 to 6 years. Thank God he got something. I don't know. I'll have to look back at my video. That girl, I believe it was in New York. Remember, she pushed that elderly lady down. The lady lost her life, and that girl walked away with like 8 years. I keep thinking of that. Like, it's so weird to me how the sentences can fall. So Hocking County Common Pleas Judge Jason Despotovich ordered a pre-sentence investigation. Will schedule a sentencing hearing after it's completed. So we look forward to November 12th. So we'll see about this 4 to 6 years in prison. And the judge said the offense to which Jason pled guilty to carries a potential prison term from 2 to 8 years. So at least I'm thinking maybe he'll get 5, hopefully 6. The offense falls under the Reagan-Tokes law, which means that a court is required to impose a minimum and a maximum prison sentence, with the length of the max sentence being 1.5 times the length of the minimum. Thus, a 4-year sentence would translate into a 4 to 6 year sentence. So that's how it worked out, 4 to 6 years. Okay. Now, whether the convicted person must serve more than the minimum depends on their behavior in prison. Now, this says a conviction on the charge also designates the convicted person as a Tier 2 offender, which requires them when they're released from prison to register where they reside every 180 days for 25 years. So the records indicate Jason was the owner when some of these videos were recorded. I don't know if all of them or what, but it was sold in December 2024. And indeed, I found on October 21st, 2024, this realtor had posted about a new price for this investment property. I wonder, when stuff happens in a home, some kind of crime, people tend to sometimes shy away from purchasing it. I hope, of course, authorities have done their due diligence, scoured that home, and think, okay, we didn't find any other cameras. Anyway, they dropped the price, obviously, down to $399.9K in Hocking Hills, and it still says, welcome to the Sly Fox Cabin. You think they would change the name by now, and that's what I read earlier. So then it did sell. It sold on December 6, 2024. People realize when, I guess it's a good investment opportunity, but this tripped me out. This is what the realtor wrote. Sold in the Hocking Hills. I helped my clients purchase this rental cabin almost 6 years ago and was happy they called me when they were ready to sell it. So there you have the proof, the realtor told me. The Yards obviously purchased that Sly Fox rental cabin almost 6 years ago. 6 years from December 6th, 2024. They owned it almost 6 years. Indeed, from January 1st, 2019? Yep. That's when he started buying those Amazon things. 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. It sells December 6th. Wow, it really was almost 6 years. Wow, this dude, is that why he even bought it? He started buying the cameras in January 2019. Now, the realtor does not mention, yeah, I helped them buy it almost 6 years ago, and guess what the guy did? He installed all these hidden cameras and got all these people, and he's been indicted, and of course he didn't go into that. And I was happy when they called me when they were ready to sell it. Oh boy. If you're curious why the Hocking Hills continually gets listed as a top investment market, I'd love to share. I'm a born and raised local agent that owns and operates my own STRs. What does that mean? Investment properties. I'm trying to think of what it means. And I'd be happy to show you the gem of Ohio. I've got to tell you, it's got to be gorgeous. So I understand why someone would purchase it and say, look, there's still a lot of value here just because Jason decided to do all this nasty stuff with this investment property. Oh, well, he lost it. And I'm sure they sold it because they would need the money for Jason's defense. I'm sure whatever they sold it went right into the pockets of some lawyers or something. But he is out on bond now, isn't he? That's what I think. No, I feel like he's still in custody. Yes, he's still in custody. Because I remember seeing that. Status in custody, the last time I looked it up. Southeast Ohio Regional Jail. So I'm glad he wasn't bonded out. Or maybe he was bonded out. And then once I don't know how it worked. Once he pled no contest. And then I haven't gotten super details. But before we close, how can you find hidden cameras in your Airbnb or Verbo homes or hotel rooms? That's what I was asking. What's this new Chat GPT Atlas? I love them. I was like, wait a minute. I was telling my friend about this story last night, and I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. How do you find it? Now, I know certain things. It says practically do a step-by-step sweep with just a phone, a few cheap tools, plus what to do when you find stuff. Focus on safety first. Don't confront anyone. So this woman, this hero, did the right thing in terms of she saw the camera, she got her husband like, look at this, and they immediately the next morning called the sheriff's office. I'm so glad they didn't I don't know when they left a negative review, but I'm glad they weren't trying to call the property manager who would have then called the owner and what is it? No, let the police handle it. If you feel unsafe, someone's acting suspiciously, call the police. Don't destroy or hide devices that could be evidence. Photograph them in place. That's got to be the hardest part. No matter how embarrassing it might be to think, oh my goodness, they saw me taking a shower, they have video of this, and your first knee-jerk reaction might be to take a hammer to that thing. Don't do it. Don't destroy evidence, because the evidence is what can get the culprit and get them in jail. And photograph, and the laws vary. Recording, placing hidden cameras can be illegal. Report discoveries to the platform, okay, maybe Airbnb or Vrbo, but police. Do police first. But yeah, of course, tell Airbnb and Vrbo too, but unfortunately, how do I say this correctly? I think some places, of course, it's in their best interest not to let you know what happened in a home or whatever, because of course they're going to want to rent it out again. They're going to want to sell it, but that does not negate the truth. Everything I'm saying in this video is from police evidence. This is from truth. So I'm not saying you should not use Airbnb and Vrbo or even hotel rooms. I know I prefer hotel rooms, but I have to be vigilant too. It's saying just walk the room slowly, look for anything out of place or unusual in the common hiding spots. So smoke detectors, alarm clocks, lamps, air purifiers, fans, power strips, stuff, decorative stuff, stuffed animals, teddy bears. That's what my friend was talking about. Picture frames, TV boxes, streaming sticks, cable boxes, wall outlets, behind furniture, everywhere. If something seems new, it has a strange lens, glass, wires where there shouldn't be, flag it. So that woman, however she saw that cord hanging down in a bathroom, something told her this is weird. I guess it's like that book, The Gift of Fear. Even if you're not techie or you don't know anything, it would be like, wait a minute, that's weird. Let me look more. Look for camera lenses with light reflection tests. I've heard this, I think. Turn off the lights, close the blinds if possible, use your phone's flashlight, move slowly. Camera lenses often reflect a bright pinpoint. So that's a good one. Using your flashlight, make it dark in there. Do I see any lenses where there shouldn't be, on the end of that lens tape camera? And I've heard of this one. Use your phone camera, your rear camera to scan the room in the dark. Many phone cameras will show infrared LEDs as a faint purple-white glow. So you have your phone on, you use the camera. If it's a dark room, scan it. Look at small dark devices, looking for them. Infrared will glow. Focus on the smoke detectors, alarm clocks, and baby monitors. Okay, wait. And your camera might catch the infrared LED of another camera. Oh, check the mirrors and your glass carefully. Two-way mirrors can be used to hide cameras. You can tell. You shine that bright light, a flashlight at an angle, and you can look for differences. It might, you might say, this isn't a regular mirror. Don't rely on finger test alone. Oh, is this really a mirror? If you suspect it's a mirror, block light from the room. See if you can detect different objects behind there. Scan for wireless cameras. This gets a little more techie, but connect your phone to the rental's Wi-Fi or use your own hotspot if you refuse to connect. That's what I always do. I don't like connecting to other Wi-Fi. I'm let me use my own hotspot. Use a network scanner app such as Fing, F-I-N-G, to list devices on the network and look for device names or manufacturers that might suggest cameras like Camera, IP Cam, HIK Vision, Axis, Foscam, TP-Link Camera, EasyV, whatever. Look for open networks and all the stuff. Access the router if you can. Use this RF detector to find, or use a camera lens finder. RF detectors can find wireless camera transmissions. Ooh, I'm going to put these in here. Let's find this. Sweep slowly near the suspected objects. Ooh, I want to look all these up. Dedicated camera lens finders, little LED-based devices, inexpensive, and they'll beep or light up near lenses. I didn't even know that existed. This is amazing. Thermal or heat check options. Active cameras sometimes emit a tiny heat signature. A thermal camera or thermal accessory for your phone can help locate warm electronics. Wow. Okay, if you suspect a camera, document it, get photos, short videos of the device, wide shots of the location, get timestamps, don't unplug or move anything, the device, unless you're leaving and it's the only way to protect your privacy, but moving could destroy the evidence. If you have to remove it, for example, it's pointed at your bed, photograph it first. Leave the property if you feel unsafe. Call police to make a report, provide photos and location, just like this hero woman did. Ask for a police report number, case number. Notify the platforms. It says file a complaint with Airbnb and Verbo immediately. I guess that is call the police first. That's my first. Get them the evidence. Then file the complaint with Airbnb and Verbo. Attach all the photos, all your evidence. Demand a refund, cancellation, and that they remove the host. And that host has been removed. It says Airbnb and Verbo both have policies against hidden cameras. So he wasn't supposed to do this. Preserve the evidence. Email the photos to yourself. Keep the originals. Save any of the network scans you ran, and follow up. Get responses in writing. And they explain in many states and countries you have a right to privacy in short-term rentals. Filming in private places where a person expects privacy, such as the bathroom or the bedroom, is often illegal. Contact your local police in the platform, and that's what this hero woman did. It says if the device is clearly placed by the host in a private area, this could be criminal. Police will advise the next steps, and they did. They caught this Jason Yard. Whew. God help his family. I pray everyone can recover from this, all the victims. But it's a great learning lesson. Look how much I learned. I hope you've learned a lot. It's a lot of investment to buy stuff as a preventative measure, but now that I'm thinking of it, it would be worth it. Doing a sweep. And just think about how many people, adults and children, you save from becoming the next victim. Thank God this hero woman found it early February 2024. I mean, as I film this, it's Tuesday, October 28th, 2025. This could still be going on if she hadn't noticed one weird cord and had her husband come check it out, and they got the evidence. And they agreed to testify, as did the other victims, and it stopped there. But how many other places, rental places, a person's home? It could be a person's home. It could be a hotel. It could be some weirdos who got into the business, got into, like Molly the nanny, got into the nanny business. Why did she do it? This guy, Jason Yard, why did he buy this rental property? Initially, was it just to turn a good investment and have a vacation place for him and his family and friends? Did it start off innocently, or did it not? Because the same time, 2019, he bought the rental, him and his wife, was the same January 2019 was when he got on Amazon and started buying hidden cameras. Not good. I can understand people putting cameras like in their kitchen, sometimes other areas. They do it for whatever reasons, for security. I don't know. Let's say you own a home and you're afraid your teenager is about to throw a wild party or something, and you put it in your own kitchen. We have to read all the laws. I understand why people do certain things, but for this reason, what he captured, sad, sick. Nehemiah 9:6, you alone are the Lord. You made the heavens, even the highest heavens, and all their starry hosts, the earth and all that is on it, the seas and all that is in them. You give life to everything, and the multitudes of heaven worship you. So thank you so much for watching all of this. Stay tuned, because I just mailed off a check. I've got more evidence coming in this case. I hope it grows into this huge learning lesson, as it has been for me, hopefully all of us, before we go on our next trip, travel anywhere, stay anywhere that's not our home. Even in our own home, God knows what cameras could be placed in your own home that you don't know about. This just really has my mind thinking. I didn't know there were all those preventative, proactive devices that we can use. I mean, Airbnbs, Verbos, hotels, always popular, but unfortunately growing is kind of the sick, voyeuristic type crimes. Spying on guests, growing too. So you want to be able to relax and have a good time at your vacation. I'm going to look into these devices that can provide a measure of protection, or, just even looking and being aware and sweeping the room, especially the bathroom, for any weirdness. One thing I wanted to invent, but this wouldn't help you if you don't have clothes on, but something that can even block. I've seen this before. They have certain kind of like, they're talking about hoodies or different things that can deflect, like facial recognition technology. I think that'll be a huge thing going forward too. Now, thank you guys all lately who've been hanging out with me. You notice I've been kind of live streaming. I'm just previously live streaming some of my oldies, the throwback videos and I'll loop them so people can kind of be there and chat together, look at old videos. Maybe they never even saw my old videos. I did set up more tiers for my membership. Normally, you guys know I already have one tier. You can look at it on my membership page. It's just for priority reply to comments. So, members, I'm up there chatting with you. I added a couple of more tiers. One will be the early access to new videos along with the priority reply to comments. I've been testing out the live streaming process using Restream, trying to figure out how it works. Live streaming pre-recorded videos while I hang out there and chat with you. Sometimes I do just want to jump on camera and show you guys stuff like this. There's new Mary Morphew documents that came out. I love editing my videos, but I tell you what, editing takes so much time. I want you guys to have stuff to watch in between me editing. Not saying I'll get rid of the edited videos, especially if it's document heavy or stuff, and then I'm hopefully able to, see the chat and see it or have it all work. Thanks for watching all this. Stay tuned. I believe there will be soon a follow-up to this case, Mr. Jason Yard. And this is the broad strokes of the case, basically everything. You will see body cam videos coming up, and eventually we'll see what his sentencing is. And I hope he uses this time in prison to practice self-reflection and understand why he did what he did. Truly be repentant, get forgiveness from the Lord. I'm not saying his victims have to forgive him. That's between them and God. I just hope he figures out, because some people on Facebook are like, he got a slap on the wrist. He'll go in, perv, and then he'll come out in 5 years and he'll still be doing stuff like that. That's what I don't want. Hopefully there is some lesson learned. There's some deep reflection, thinking of what he's lost, what he's given up, why he did what he did. Just hopefully heal and turn. So when he does get out of prison, that he acts differently, appreciates everything the Lord has blessed him with, if he still has a wife and, his kids and all that. Anyway, I think I'm done here. Thank you for watching all this. Take care.